Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Memorial Day. That's how I'm going to say it. Happy Memorial Day. Wait. Happy Memorial Day. Happy holidays. All the things. I saw that Miss Tina was already in the chat and ready to go. Okay. She said, I'm here. I'm waiting. I'm ready. She said, I'm on time today. Thank you so much for coming on. And listen, make sure you guys share this out. I need to make sure I share it out. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because I did get some input on tonight's questions, because I want to always make sure that what I'm saying is pertinent to what we need to talk about on today's discussion, which I'm going to get into. If you did not know, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay, so I wanted to close out May. I mean, we're not completely done with May yet. Oh, yeah, this is the last Monday in May. So I did, right? I wanted to close out Monday with this month with talking about this particular subject because it's so important. And as you know, this is honestly me with Coach D. And we do the convergence of emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, and a huge part of that is absolutely mental health. Is absolutely that. Giving you the tools. How do we biblically apply dealing with our emotions, dealing with all of these things that's going on in our mental space, in our soul. And because I think a lot of times it's not always... it's always, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get into some of the cliches, just pray more, just do this, just do that. And we wonder why we're still drowning. We're wondering why it seems as if spiritually we are maybe growing, we are maturing. But me personally, I don't believe you can grow spiritually without growing emotionally as well. They work in tandem. They work hand in hand. But if you've been doing church long enough, you'll find that some of the most spiritually seeming people, there be some stuff going on when it comes to just how we relate to another, how we do, do tasks, how we function, how we do ministry together, how we life together, right? So I'm going to get into some of those things today as I'm doing the finishing touches. Hold on. So as we do talk about mental health and how it relates to ministry, how it relates to church, and really getting some idea on how to deal with these things. So without further ado, let me get into my special guest. Okay, let me get into my special guest. If you did not know, we're talking about, can the church handle mental health well? Okay, grace, boundaries, discernment, and healing in church spaces with my special guest, Dr. Newly. Clearly, she defended her dissertation and successfully did it. Newly, Dr. Katrina Edmonds, PhD, LMFT-AS, okay, all the letters, okay, of Be Set Free Counseling Ministry and Education Center. I'm going to quickly read her bio. Let's talk about it. I'm super excited. Dr. Katrina Edmonds is a dedicated scholar practitioner with nearly 25 years now. You will never know it looking at her because she's so young. She looks so cute. Okay. But nearly 25 years of experience in systemic mental health and ministry. Born and raised in Philadelphia, PA, she is the founder of Be Set Free Counseling Ministry and Education Center, serving the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey communities. As an approved clinical supervisor, certified life coach, and university adjunct professor, Dr. Edmonds bridges academic vigor with community care. Her clinical work and research focus on program creation, therapeutic resources, and specialized supervision for marriage and family therapy, MFT, students, special needs, populations, and faith leaders. Dr. Edmonds earned her PhD in marriage and family therapy from Eastern University. Her pioneering dissertation co-created a conceptual definition of sacrifice for Black Christian clergy, offering a practical framework for establishing sustainable sacrifice in ministry. I wanted to say that slow in the way that I said it because she's fit for the task tonight. She is fit for the task tonight. All right. She is fit for the discussion. Let's be clear. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Okay. She defended her dissertation on this very topic. Let's go. Driven by the belief that walking alongside individuals toward holistic wellness is a sacred honor. Dr. Edmonds advocates for the mental health, spiritual, and systemic health of her community. She is deeply committed to mentoring the next generations of clinicians and helping individuals acknowledge and accept their past so they can inform their present and improve their future. Listen, without further ado, I got my cover. Let's give it up for Dr. Katrina. Hello. I got my clapper. Okay. Come on in. Tell us. Welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. Please, you can fill in any blanks you would like regarding who you are. I know you are married. I know you are a mom. So share that a little bit.
Sure. Let's see. This fall, I will have been married 15 years. And known my husband 25 years, and we would have been together 21 years. I have a 9-year-old son. He has autism, so I'm an autism mom, and he is the bestest kid ever. If you've met Josh, you know, it's
love it.
Awesome. And I am active in ministry. I've been active in ministry in all the churches that I've served in. And to know me is to know the service is one of my love languages. I love to give. I love to serve. To know me is to know that I am truly silly. I love to laugh. I bring laughter into everything that I do, including the therapeutic space and even in the academic space. But you know, the best part about the conversation that we're going to have is that this is relaxed and y'all going to get, you know, some people may be upset by the time this conversation is over, and it's okay. I can handle conflict. I love conflict. Come on with it. But, you know, sometimes things have to get uncomfortable before people are willing to look at the change in front of them and decide that is the avenue that they want to go in, as opposed to just stay comfortable and stay the same. So, you know, here we are.
Listen, you're not lying. And it might be problematic that we're a little bit too much alike.
Yes, but that's what we love. That's what we love.
We're a little bit too much alike. Listen, because I am the same. I'm like, yes, you know, let's just reason together. What's wrong with that? Okay, we're just confronting, right? Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. I remember us having a previous conversation and just me sharing personally about coaching, about, you know, my passion is and everything like that. And my, you know, personal goal of going back to school at some point. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we were talking about that. And, you know, just talking about this idea, this convergence of mental health. This convergence of ministry, this convergence of, man, some of the little silly things that we encounter at church, just attempting to serve. To your point, just being like, hey, I just want to, you know, serve my church. I just want to allow my gifts to have room to grow, to explore through this ministry, through this vehicle, and the deposits that the Lord have inside of me. But what we don't realize is that we wanted to, I personally feel, these familial patterns and dynamics. Mm-hmm. Because why? Because church is like family. It's very familial, right? And so we don't, you know, in part, it can be like business, right? But for the most part, especially when you're thinking of people coming in fresh, right? They don't know no better. They just came out of a life or whatever. They're into something new. And so the relation that we have to church oftentimes is familiar, especially depending on your background in church, especially in the Black church. Let's be specific, particularly in the Black first, so your pastor, and I think about, I'm not going to go into the whole history of Black church, but I think about its roots. And I think about how it carried us, not just through slavery and how it was introduced and all that fun stuff. It's a whole thing. But even if we just go back to the civil rights movement, churches were places where you got, it wasn't, you got everything you needed. You were in the community. Okay. You were the pantry. You were the civil rights activist. You were so involved with government, the community, the people. You were, the pastor was the father, period. Right. And so I'm not mad at that model at all. We see it in the Bible. I'm not mad, but also there are things that get lost in translation sometimes. And there are hurts, there are expectations that we have. And oftentimes it's tethered to how we grew up. It's tethered to the reference we may or may not have had in regards to our family, right? And so those are some of the things that we would talk about, and we was just getting riled up.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah. So this is going to be a conversation. It's going to be a good one. All right.
Listen, I'm game. Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm going to do an opening poll first. What has the church struggled with the most when it comes to mental health? I'm going to ask the audience, and then I do want you to answer it. I'm going to ask the audience, and then I want you to answer it. So what has the church struggled with the most when it comes to mental health? Is it discernment? Is it compassion? Is it boundaries? Is it support? Excuse me. I want y'all to say in the comments, let me know what y'all think it is. Do, 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 do. Uh-oh. Miss Tina, she coming in hard.
She coming in hot. I love it.
She didn't even care about the prompts, Miss Tina. Miss Tina just came in with the left hook. That's good. That's good. Look, lack of support. I like that. I like that. And even that's a whole nother thing itself, because what does that mean? Because everybody, so let's touch on that before we start. We're pre-starting right now.
We're pre-starting. Okay, let's do it.
Number one, I want you to answer the poll.
Okay.
And number two, I want you to touch on that support one. So what has the church struggled with the most when it comes to mental health, and the options, and whatever, you think it is: discernment, compassion, boundaries, support. And I want you to touch on support if it's not your answer.
Okay. So then I'll be giving you three answers. Mm-hmm. Of the four choices, I would go with boundaries. Mm-hmm. My personal answer is humanity, in terms of recognizing that we are finite beings, as well as recognizing their own finiteness. Whereas the expectations require people be an infinite resource. And that's just, that's not our lot. That's not how.
Say it again. Wait, hold on.
We are not infinite. We are not infinite beings. We are not. She said, "How real can I be? As real as you can stand. That's how real you can be." But we are not infinite beings with infinite resources.
Yeah.
But we demand and command and expect from the top down, as well from the bottom up. Like it's not just the head or our faith leaders expecting this of their congregations. It's also our congregations expecting this from their leaders. And you kind of talked about like church hurt and so on and so forth. It goes both ways. It's reciprocal.
Yes.
And so even when you tie into it the aspect of support,
Mhm.
oftentimes, because like you mentioned about familial, and
Mhm.
yeah, like the church is what I like to call our extended family.
Yep.
And oftentimes we are looking for members in the church to fulfill the roles that have been void or that have been hurtful. And
Yep.
oftentimes we recreate in that seek, in that search for that, we recreate some of the dysfunction that we were running from anyway.
That's it.
And we ask people to be things that we haven't actually asked them to be it, if
Come
they're
on.
willing to be it, and then set the terms of engagement for it. So when we talk about support, oftentimes we're looking for and expecting a support, and like I said, this goes both ways,
Right.
that we haven't even labeled, we haven't asked for permission, we haven't asked for engagement, but
Come
we
on.
get hurt as if we have, and then won't even say to the person, this is why I'm hurt,
Come on.
this is why I was disappointed. And so going back to your poll about boundaries, not everything is for everybody. Not
Yeah.
every, like, we like to operate as if people should have an all access pass to us and we should have an all access pass to them. And
Yep.
that's not true. Like,
Yep.
not everybody, the strangers should not have an all access pass like my best friend does.
Mm-hmm.
They have not put the time in. I don't know their character. I don't know if they can handle that much of me in reverse order. And so when we talk about boundaries, boundaries have expectations connected to them. And so we'll be expecting a stranger to show up for us the same way we expect our best friend. And the reason why I put it that way is we think that just because somebody is family, that they're going to show up for us like in the best friend level. And that's not true either. Like, family just means that we have blood ties when we're talking about family of origin. And then we have family of choice, which is the people that we have chosen are our sisters, our aunties, our other moms, our other dads, and what have you. But we still have to take into consideration who they are and what role have they played in my life. Have they been helpful? Have they been harmful? And if it's harmful, why do they still have best friend access to them? I
gotta break
the sound effects out. I wasn't ready, but I love it.
I gotta bring it in because you talking good.
I love it. I love it. But I mean, oftentimes when I'm sitting in therapy, one of the early things that I do with people is talk about, I call it the concentric circles. And
Yeah.
so we start to actually identify using the visual is a bullseye. So
Yeah.
using that, where people are, how they got there, and what are your qualifications to move people up or down? Because you can always promote and demote based off of how people.
No, see, this is why. No. This is why. Say it again.
You can always promote and demote people based on how they do or do not show up, how their character is, how their follow through is, and the care and support that they give to you. But again, it is reciprocal. It's a pet peeve of mine for people to expect what they will not give.
Right.
Because why? And understanding the context is key.
Yeah.
So you put that in context. Like, a lot of this requires observation, discernment, but also you have to actually ask and then correct, because people don't come out just knowing how to treat you. And I say all this because when you put this in the context of church, the rules don't change.
Yeah. We got to pause right there.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it, and this is in any relationship, you know what I mean? Especially when you think of relationships being like people having people pleasing tendencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes up often in church. So to your point, I'm new in ministry. I want to serve. This is all I know. Like, I'm excited. I'm on fire. And so you kind of attempt to go with the culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what is so difficult? Because I'm feeling two things. First is I'm thinking of the times where I have anxiety throbbing in my belly. just to have a conversation with my pastor, right? And just to express, hey, here's a thought, here's what I feel, here's what I would like from our dynamic, right? And this is me, Coach D, Danielle. And I'm very clear on my buckets, on my relationships. I don't believe that pastors are for everything. And I have relationships that model that, right? Mentor, therapist, pastor, spiritual couple, wherever you want to call it. I have all these buckets, right? So I don't believe in my pastor got to be the whole kit and caboodle. Even with that, whether you believe, have that or don't believe that, right? And don't know, there is still this like, oh my God. And I remember previously really, and even now, like, what is it for people who really struggle with, oh my God, that's the pastor. And they really have anxiety about, number one, they can't do it with their mom and dad, let alone the pastor, right? And there is this, I just finished watching Homelander. The boys, the TV show, The Boys with Homelander, right? And there is this deity perception that we have, again, in the Black church, because of what the pastor, the church represented for decades, for years. And even for me, who attempts to be sober and do the work and put people in spots, I'm very clear, but also I can still find myself having a physical reaction to needing to have certain conversations or having expectations and all that other stuff. So if you can kind of, my long-winded way of saying, on that, because especially when you roll your position, or even if you're just like, hey, I just need to talk about certain things. What is that, number one? What is that gut reaction that we have? Like, oh my God, I'm scared to ask, have the conversation, the expectations.
Okay, so let's start here. Not all anxiety is bad anxiety. Let's start there. So we're going to normalize what it is. So it's a physiological response to our body being put on alert about something. And so sometimes that alert is based in excitement. Sometimes that alert is based off of there's something in your atmosphere that you need to be paying attention to, because it may be harmful. So I think the first thing is not to immediately vilify the body's natural wiring. So when we start to put it in context of the question that you gave, one of the things that I say is, what type of conversation are you having? Is it one where you already have all of these fears associated with the content of what that conversation is? What have you, so we start to talk about the modeling that we've gotten. You mentioned about family earlier. In your own family of origin, when there were conversations to be had, were the people that you needed to have the conversations with approachable, or was fear just the thing that you were always going to approach with anyway? Because you think you're going to be shut down, because you think that they're not going to listen. You think it's, or you could have the opposite. It was always a welcoming thing, but it was just hard to go to that person because I have a fear of disappointing that person. Right. Maybe they think that I should already know. Maybe I'm thinking that, this is something that I have to go through on my own. So all of those things are at play. It's never just, this is the only thing. It doesn't work that way. Even me, there are times, and I have a wonderful relationship with my apostle. I can go to him and, we jokingly have things that we call our particular conversations, but he knows the difference between when I'm just talking and when I'm going to say something that, it may be hard to hear. Yeah. But he knows my character well enough to know.
There it is.
I'm not coming with foolishness.
Hold on. Listen. Here on Honestly Me, Coach D, we breathe through stuff. Okay. we have Selah moments. Mm-hmm. He knows your character well enough. Okay.
And with knowing my character, he also knows that I am not afraid of correction.
Right.
And so with that, it means that even if I came to him with something that was crazy, he already knows. If you need to correct me in the process of this conversation, you have carte blanche to do that. But that's also based on the fact of our relationship.
Yeah.
So to kind of go back to how we started, part of that is, you know, when you're talking to that person, there's this expectation, because we have, when you think about the history of the Black church, we have had no choice but to ride on the back of our leader for so long. And it seems like such a wonderful thing. It's exhausting for them. And it also has put them in an unfair position of having to be all things to all people at all times, regardless of the spiritual, emotional, physical, financial, and just mental cost and load of that.
That's it.
And so I think sometimes people forget about, at the end of the day, this is still a man or a woman. It is still a person. And they have thoughts, they have feelings, and you have to approach them in a certain way. And sometimes it's, when you're going to them, are you going to them for guidance? Or are you going to them to the answer? Or are you going to them just for the support of just saying, can you cover me in the midst of this?
Right.
And so if everybody comes to me, if I have 1,000 members and they're all looking to me for answers, let me just tell you something. I would shut my practice down. I'm not answering 1,000 people. Because the like, when I think about even how Jesus approached the disciples, he said, I could give you the fish or I could teach you to fish.
Yep.
Right. And
That's
so
it.
a lot of times we approach our pastors and our leaders and our apostles as if their job is just to give us the fish.
Yep.
Not
and to
forever.
Your point, his main focus was the 12.
But the thing is,
it was more.
It was so much more. But so when we go back to that whole thing about the concentric circles, he had the 3, he had the 12, he had the 70, and then he had the larger ones. I think it was like 3 something and 5 something. So he had the different levels, but he still spoke to the acquaintances and the strangers as well.
Sure. Yep. That's it.
So like, it's understanding what the ask is and why you're going to that person. Nerves are you're never going to get rid of nerves.
Right.
You're not. But you need to understand what your nerves are trying to tell you. What is the message that your nerves are trying to make? Is it something where you're just like, I'm nervous because I don't know how this is going to be received. I'm nervous because I'm super excited about this. I'm nervous because the topic is super, super weighty. And then once I know what that nervousness is about, it helps me in my approach, because then I can say, this is really hard for me to come to you and say, but I feel because of the trust that I have with you, and you're my spiritual leader and you're my this, I feel like this information is safe with you and you'll help me navigate through this. That's a completely different conversation, and it sets the tone and the stage for what is supposed to happen in that dynamic, as opposed to, oh my God, Pastor, such and such and such and such. Listen, he not moving in with you. She not moving in with you. And that can't be the expectation. They cannot be everything, because then where's the room for Jesus?
And I love the way that you're like, recall and pinpoint. Pretty much what I hear you saying is recall and pinpoint how you're used to these type of conversations going. Right. So if you, especially again, because we view things as familial, right? I remember a time where, so there was a time in my life where I met Dr. Harold Arnold, bang, bang, and it's been 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking about that over the weekend. I was like, bro, it'll be 10 years this year that I met him. He came into my life. And one of the things that really helped me with connecting with him, of course, I knew my bishop, you know, who I consider my spiritual father, prior to him, but I didn't know how to get close, right? And I'm also definitely not that person to be up under people. That's just me in general, right? Let me start there. And so at the time at my former church, it was, you know, the others that are my age group, you know, in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s, families. We came in, young family, young marriage, young people. And so the model, some of the modeling that we saw was, sons and daughters, right? Sons and daughters, and they're coming in and they're like, they talking to Bishop all the time and every day and da da da. And so I didn't know, as much as I felt like, hey, this person has that their voices for my life, right? I also was like, I don't know what that looks like to be close. And so as I began to grow and mature, my gifts and my this, and now I'm working in ministry and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, I'm like, to have the harder conversations or to lay out the expectations, I didn't know how to do that. And so I will always have the desire for something that I didn't know how to articulate and was too scared to figure it out until I fully thought it through, because that's also the kind of person I am. And so meeting my mentor, it was like, he's mentoring me. He's helping with our marriage, me and my husband and stuff like that, which was needed. Okay. So needed, such a critical time. I remember going back and listening. I used to record my prayers back in the day. And so I had recorded a prayer, and I remember listening to it, not realizing that I had cried out to God saying, God, I need a father. I need a father. Now, I do have, my dad is alive, praise God, amen. But especially at that time, it was a complicated relationship. You know what I mean? If I could push the check on the Facebook, complicated. It was complicated, And so I'm I was going through my deliverance process, and I had reconciled so much regarding my dad, but I didn't know how to be a daughter. And so my prayer was, God, teach me how to be a daughter. I don't know how to do it. And so I didn't realize that God had answered my prayer until years later when I listened to the recording. All that to say, my mentor came into my life, and I started bucking up in my soul. And it was very much like a little teenagery, like the kind of teenager, like, and it was just weird. And I know it was weird. I was being weird, and I'm like, why am I being weird? I don't know what's happening. And so at the time, I remember us, having kind of like this moment where we had met, we had talked, and it was just like, I don't even know. His thing was, I don't even know if what this we're doing here is working. By this time, we're a few years in. Me and Rich is still having our moments. And it's like, I don't even know. And for him, I heard the cry of a leader who wants to be effective, right? It had nothing to do with me. And I understood that, because as a person who's very much goal-oriented, it's like you want what you do to be effective. You want to see results, and it's like, okay, if it's been this long and it's not working, like, there's something wrong with me. I'm not even blaming you. What's wrong with me? And so it was kind of one of those moments. And in that moment, I'm feeling like a child. I'm like, all I could feel was an abundance of tears welling up. I'm like, I'm not about to cry in this Starbucks. In the moment, all I can hear, listen, Katrina, all I can hear in that moment was, please don't leave me. Please don't quit me. Ooh, I'm getting emotional now. Ooh. I'm like, please don't quit me. And that's not what he's saying, but that is what I'm hearing. And I'm screaming it out to the top of my lungs on the inside of myself. And so that night, that morning, I'm just lament. So I'm typing an email, and I'm me and the Lord is talking, and I'm trying to identify, like, yo, what the heck is your problem? And I'm trying to identify. And so the Lord is really like, this stuff is coming up, and the Lord is showing me, like, no, you need to be a daughter. You need all of your little daddy stuff, like. You don't know how to be a daughter as an adult. You don't know what it is to have this type of dynamic as an adult. You only know how to articulate with this type of figure in your life is by way of anger and rage and screaming, because that was my own. When I talk to my dad, and when we get to the place of having conversation, it was, it's just coming out in anger and rage. But you don't know how to be like, hey, confront. Hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm feeling. This is my expectation. You know what I mean? This is what's going on. And I didn't know how to do that. And I'm like, well, I just don't know. So,
but I mean, even to your point, you're bringing up things that happen all the time, especially in our church, which is, do we have the language to be able to identify what is actually going on? And is there a safe place for us to be able to, I'm going to say, struggle through finding that language without being judged?
Correct.
Okay, so let's keep it real. And even if I'm judged, that you are strong enough to still hold me in it until I can figure out the right way to do it. And on both sides of this, and if my leader is trying to get me to a different place, when I'm upset with him, when I'm struggling with him, one, will I not hear it across the pulpit because that space is sacred? But two, hold on. Again, it comes back to the humanity of people. Like,
that's it.
Sans the titles, we are all still people.
That's right.
And sometimes we look at our leaders as if they don't hurt, as if they have it 100% together. They are still being worked on as well. And oftentimes they have to bury theirs even deeper than the congregants have to bury theirs. And sometimes they respond out of their hurt, out of the little boy or the little girl that's inside of them that is screaming the same thing that you are. But you may have more carte blanche to actually say it. And with our congregants, same thing. And so it's this whole idea that we all still yet have much healing left to do. But can church spaces be safe spaces to say that?
Yeah.
And recommend deliverance when deliverance is needed, and then do the other part of the work of the deliverance, which is, now you got them out. Now we got to deal with how the space got created to begin with to let them in. And then so we can keep that space not occupied with that, but what the Lord wants to fill us with. And so oftentimes that's where that language becomes important. Like, you can't just say, come back to the altar and tarry all day.
Yeah.
It's a two-part thing. The deliverance is for getting them out. And then there is the support, which often comes in the therapy. And here's my thing with therapy. I am into preventative medicine. Like, my thing is, don't wait until the wheels fall off of the car to get the car serviced. It's always going to cost you more in time and effort and in resources if you wait to the last minute. And so oftentimes people are more willing to recognize that there is something wrong with their car, with their house, with their hair, with their job, before they will actually realize that there is something that is happening inside of me where I need a safe place. I love that you can talk to your besties. I love that you can talk to your mama and them, but sometimes they are just helping to support something that's going to keep you stuck in the cycle that you're in. There are oftentimes, when I talk about mental health professionals, I'm saying it is a neutral second or third party, depending on if you're coming for a couple of family therapy or just individual therapy. It's a neutral party that's going to help you with the things that are happening in your mind. And you don't have to be all the way thrown off or anything like that. I prefer that you're not that far going when I get to you, although we can come back from the brink. But I prefer that you're somewhere, in the middle or early stages, because then you're a lot more healthier to deal with the things that I'm going to challenge you in anyway.
Right. I can actually apply the tools.
You can apply the tools, because a lot of therapy is about sitting with the difficult things and also being supported while you practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you've had all of these years to practice something that is not beneficial for you at this point. Yeah. So you're going to need more time and a safe person in place to learn new tools and practice. The same way when we come to church, we have had a lot of us had these ideas of who God was and what he was supposed to do. And we go to God like he a magic genie. And it's just like, well, God, if you give me, and he's just like, bro, Tell me what scripture says that's who I am. That's not who I am. Like, he already tells you that I'm going to love you, that I've loved you even before I gave you to your parents. Like, I knew you, I formed you. So he already knew all the things that he put inside of you, but then he also has told you that, yeah, you're going to get corrected from me. I correct those that I love. And I'm going to put people in your space and people in your life who are going to support you. They're going to lead you. They're going to guide you. I hold them accountable. I expect greater from them when they do it. And so it's just like, okay, so he's giving you the model of how he works with us as an individual and as the collective.
Yeah.
Why would you think that it would be any different in these spaces? And, you know, if we pay attention to Jesus, like he wasn't just letting people just do whatever the heck they wanted. He found appropriate ways to confront, but not confront to embarrass. It was to confront to begin to correct and confront so that they still feel like they can come. Like even when we talk about like Mary Magdalene, first of all, he didn't agree with how they came for her. It's not that he didn't know what she did. He didn't put her on blast. He was just like, I mean, okay. And what did you do? Because just as guilty as you are of sinning, so is she. However, I'm going to extend grace to her. And where in the equation have you forgotten about grace? Okay, so now that I've extended grace, now that she knows that I've forgiven her for that, now I have to teach her how to live her life going forward. And so what you start to see is, dude, she's the one that found out that he was alive, the first one. So he didn't abandon her in all of her stuff. He stayed with her. He got it. He left space to deal with all the things that even allowed her to be in that lifestyle to begin with, and started to mature her, not just spiritually, but as a person.
And can we stop right there?
Go ahead.
Because here's often what I see when we're talking about, can church handle mental health? Can church handle these things? What I'm hearing you say is the model of Jesus met people where they were, as far as in the natural, as far as their soul, as far as their current circumstances, right? What I find at church is that we don't do what the validation. We don't connect with a person's humanity, their condition, right? We just skip over it and slide into the prayer, but the Bible said. How do we get at, how do we get out of the church brain mode, if you of doing the cliche, like, because, and I don't know if it's a skill thing, like, hey, the training aspect needs to be better. I don't know if it's a discernment, like connecting with people, a humanity thing, because to your point, Jesus modeled it. Hey, I know what you're going through. I know exactly what's happening, right? I understand. I get it. I relate. But here, let me show you. Let me lead you to this other side, to this revelation, right? That will heal those part of you. How do we help people, whether a leader, whether congregants, be able to just relate as Christians? I don't think we know how to relate to people. Like, just as a human being.
This is where the violence comes in. When we talk about that, we've chosen violence. This is where it comes in. All right. So in my head, as you're talking, the answer that I'm giving to you is, this is the scary space where the safe place lives.
Yeah.
And it means that you have to lead with your humanity. And sometimes that's not clean. Sometimes that's not pretty. It's not dressed up. Like it, we always joke with people. We be like, don't let the smooth outfit and the haircut fool you. You know, right. I still got hands. Like, we say stuff like that. And we right. But we have gotten so good at cleaning it up on the outside, thinking that what we do on the outside makes up for the work we have or have not done on the inside.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it, is that I have this conversation with people. You could have the Bible, like the actual verses, committed to memory, front to back. But if you don't understand the spirit by which he's giving you this information, if you don't understand his love letter to us, and if you don't understand his heart then it's pretty words.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, when our church folks are addressing people, do they see you or do they see the heart of the Lord?
Yeah.
And so what you're talking about in terms of, the humanity and meeting people where they are, he was the word, but that's not how he came at people.
Yeah.
He taught them as he cared for them, because you already know, like if you do any type of like ministry outside of the four walls, or if you're doing anything like evangelism, what have you, especially if you're going to those that have issues with addiction, DV, homelessness. First of all, what's the first thing that they tell you? Don't just walk up on them praying to them. They're not going to receive your prayer if that's the first thing that you lead with. You need to lead with the fact that you see a human in front of you that has a struggle. What are you going to do to address the struggle? And then once you begin to address the struggle, there is a rapport built between the two of you. So then you can begin to address their soul care as well. Meet their natural so that you have the platform to address the other part. And I think a lot of times, especially when we expect people to come into our churches and get with the program.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm just like, wait.
How?
They came in with a broken leg. Why you want them to start jumping double just immediately? Like that's not how that works. But it's safer for us, the congregants, and for us, the leaders, to just jump there, because most people don't like the messy stuff, right? And so a simple way that I think about it in my head is to ask people, do you want tradition or do you want transformation? And so if we are, and I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about decency and order. That's a different conversation. I'm talking about tradition. Like it's this is how we are, and you just need to fall in line and clean all that stuff up, put it away, put a suit on it, and this is what it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of our congregants that have been brought up in here's your box, get in it. And let's just walk the walk. And so in that space, this is because even when you and I were talking, we were talking about church hurt and so on and so forth. This is where a lot of spiritual bypass happens. And so you hear this term being thrown around all over the place. And it's the place where we learn how to spiritualize everything, over spiritualize everything. And that I was watching this young guy this young therapist on, he looks young. He might be older. I don't think he's older than me. But he was on there. He was talking about spiritual bypass, and he was talking about it correctly. And was talking about how, I'm too blessed to be stressed. The lies you tell. It's like the word already tells us that we're going to have trials and tribulations. We're not experiencing tribulations, but we will have trials. And so how you not stressed? It's what you do. Acknowledge it. And then what do you do with it?
That's it.
And can I have a real conversation? Like, it is hard for me to trust you with my spiritual guidance, but I can't be authentically me. Because how do you address that so that you can help me mature, to give me the proper tools to mature? And so, for instance, we look at Peter. He got tested so that he could keep growing in maturity to get to where the Lord needed him to be. He didn't tell him from jump that he was going to be the rock. He went through a couple of trials and tests to get there, to begin to stretch him. But he saw where they were, and he allowed them to talk about it. It was just like, well, no, Peter, you such a. But even beyond that, the Lord being perfect in everything, he said that he was going to take on and learn everything about us, to have the experience so that he could do what he needed to do for us, so that when he died for us, it was once and for all. And so I look at him and I'm just like, he showed us what it was to be sad, to be grief-stricken, to be heartbroken, to feel like people are misconceiving or misconstruing his words, to be depressed, to be anxious, all of that. And then he showed you, how do you involve your trusted people to help you, to come alongside you? How do you go to a leader and begin to approach a leader? Like like we saw him taking it to prayer and then going into action. It wasn't just prayer alone. It was prayer and then action.
That's it. That's good.
So I start to ask people, well, how do you model? And can you begin to show me the spiritual side of that, and then the natural side of that, walking together? That's what I want to see. And I think we're getting to this place where if you don't teach the people, they will go seek it somewhere else. And that's where people get in trouble, because you don't know from what source they're getting their information.
Right.
And you may have some mixing going on, which means you'll probably have a larger mess on your hands. And
Correct.
so it is better that they're getting that type of empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy doesn't mean weakness.
Right.
It does not mean weakness.
And it doesn't mean I agree with what you did.
Right. Because acknowledgement is not agreement. And
right.
And I think that's one of the things that is missing a lot in the church spaces is I can acknowledge the fact that you're screaming for help, but I don't have to agree with what you did while you were screaming.
That's right.
And so my correction is going to come with what you actually did, but I'm going to acknowledge that you need me to support you in a whole different way.
That's
and if we have a relationship that is not just title and not just peripheral, but if we actually have a relationship, and again, it's reciprocal. A leader shouldn't have to force himself or herself to be in relationship with you, and you shouldn't have to force that. It takes something from both parties.
I want to, because I want to make sure I'm tying this into just mental health, leadership, how we helping the people. To that point of validating, of acknowledgement. Yes, sin is bad. We know that. We know there are things you're not supposed to do. Okay, praise God. You need to do better with, and this is what I do. And any of my mentees, if they fall short, I'm not beating you up over the act. I'm beating you up over the steps there. Okay. Because, and this is where we have to be better about how to disciple people, right? Because you can say all day long this sin is bad, but we have to do better with walking people through it. Your draws can't fall off. Okay.
They can't.
It actually takes a lot more work to start taking things and moving parts into each other than we realize. It's many more things to do, right? It's a lot more. Yeah. And so we can't, I stumped. No. Okay. And so I like to walk people through each decision. Whatever a man thinketh. Okay. We gotta go with the thought. What was you thinking? With each step, because there were several steps before the fall. There were several steps before whatever happened. There were several steps. Okay. And it always reverts back to spiritual disciplines fell short, right? Hey, I ignored the warnings. I ignored the signs. I ignored listening to myself. I thought more highly of myself than I ought, right? I thought I was strong enough, right? I thought that it wouldn't be a problem. Like, there are so many nuances way before the actual act. And so we'll beat down the act thing, but won't disciple on the in between.
So you're talking about something so near and dear to my heart, which is this is the devil's battlefield. It's his playground. And so we spend so much time on what is tangible or what we can see. And it's just like, don't do that. If we spent more time beginning to help people understand what the thought process sounds like, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because when you have those thoughts, what is the counter? What does the conversation sound like in your mind?
Come on.
And whose voice is it?
Come on.
What has influenced that voice? Where did it come from? How does that fit into what your mantras were in your family? Like, for instance, telling somebody, I just need you not as you said it, have your drawers fall off, or telling somebody not to have sex. Okay, so in that person's family of origin, what is celibacy synonymous with?
That's part.
So you're giving them a directive saying, well, this is what the Bible says. And I'm just like, and it does. And you need to begin to help them understand that. And you need to begin to understand what other truth needs to be corrected so that they can actually walk that out successfully. And I think that's a lot of the work that we are not, we aren't doing as a church body collectively. Now, are there some ministries out there doing that work? Absolutely. I also see a lot of ministries that are turning a corner and realizing we have to do better with this. In fact, graduating from the program I just graduated, there are 2 pastors there were in my cohort. There are pastors in every single cohort. And so there are groupings of pastors starting, and I say pastors collectively, that are starting to understand that, pastoral care that I learned in seminary, learned at theology school, just gave me the surface. But I need to get more education and more experience to understand what are the deep down mental health and emotional struggles that my congregants are having, so that I am better equipped to meet not only just me personally help them, but also to equip my leaders to be able to recognize it. Like something simple like this. And it's a running joke with me at church. I am a hugger. However, if you were to ask anybody in my church when they first meet me, the first thing I say to them is, I am a hugger. May I hug you?
That's it.
And people are taken aback by that question. And it's because we just think because people walk in the door, we should be able to hug everybody because that's our tradition. Culture. And I'm like, y'all have to understand that people's trauma does not stop just because they stepped foot in the parking lot. And if you are attuned to the fact that something as simple as me asking that says that I respect you as a person, where you have a right to let me know if it is okay to touch you or if I need to love you from afar. And if I get an answer like that says, I prefer not to hug, every time I see that person or those people, because several, I ask permission. Because I want you to know that you always have the ability to tell me no, and I don't think anything bad about you. I want to respect that this is your space, and we can grow together this way. And you may just be uncomfortable with this. I don't know your background, honestly, at this point, unless you give me access there. I don't need to know that, but I will respect your space, and my love for you is no less. And so I've found ways to make sure that people feel like they belong and acknowledge and feel the love, even without doing the traditional cliche, let me give you a church hug. And if more ministries actually took the time to just ask a question like that, is it okay that I shake your hand? Is it okay that I hug you? Or do you prefer me just to say greetings to you with my words?
I love that.
That goes a long way.
I love that. I wanted so it's so much. I want to try to get to some practical questions.
Listen, I'm here. I'm here. Whatever,
all right.
Whatever you got.
So let's try to touch on some of the taboo things, right? I'm gonna do 2 questions. Well, number 1, is there room for Jesus and therapy? Is there room for
if you don't know it by now, absolutely. First of all, when I come into a therapy space, I'm not by myself. Holy Spirit is with me. He is. Listen, the whole reason that I have my practice is because I got into a whole Jacob Russell fight with the Lord and I lost. Okay, because I thought I was retiring, and He was just like, "Nope, I have use for you." And I was just like, "The Lord." He was just like, "I have use for you." And so there is, and there are multiple scriptures, both in the Old Testament and New Testament, that talk about why counselors were important. Why elders, trusted elders in that way, were important. And so if it was good enough for the Lord, why do you think that you were beyond that? Is sometimes the question that I ask. And the thing is that you have to be discerning about who you are trusting in.
Yes.
And I tell people this, even when they first meet me for the first time, just because you do a consultation with me does not mean that you have hired me. I intentionally ask you, have I been hired as your therapist? Because you may like me, but feel like I'm not the right one for the job. And I'm not offended by that, because you need to trust the person that is going to walk alongside with you through your pain.
Yes, that's so good.
Next one.
Woo. Listen. All right. All right. What's the next one I want to talk about? The next question is going to be, we're going to talk about boundaries a little bit.
Okay.
What does healthy, because we touched on this a little bit, what does healthy discipleship actually look like from a relational and emotional standpoint? Because I don't want to just beat up on leaders, because it's difficult. You're trying to, number one, you're trying to build, you're trying to help the people, especially if you have a true pastor's heart. And you're feeling the people, your heart hurting and bleeding for the people. And the people are also, not kind and unforgiving. And they're also not letting you know their expectation because of the issues. It's so much that goes on. There are also, not everybody's a sheep. There are some people who are wolves, right? It's all these things. And so how do how can pastors really do this in a healthy way? Really make sure they are being empathetic, right? They're doing like Jesus does, which is meeting them in their humanity before giving a churchy answer or response. What does healthy, discipleship look like?
My first answer is making sure that you have someone, this is for the leaders, making sure that you have someone who is your safe space in your safe place. I think understanding that discipleship is a heavy load, because you're caring for people's souls and you're helping them you're trying to arm them and equip them to be able to walk this walk against an enemy that does not quit. He's an opportunist, and so he's going to do everything. He's going to use all types of tactics, and he studied your pattern, so he knows your vices, right? And so if you know that you're going to be under constant surveillance and attack in that way, then I have to equip you different. And so the pastor needs somebody that can help fortify them. And it's a mentor, a leader, and a therapist. It's not just one person.
No. Wait. We ain't doing sound in a little bit. Say it again.
It is a leader, a mentor, and a pastor, and they and a therapist, and they are often not the same person.
Come on. Okay.
So twofold. Model what you want your sheep to do.
Okay.
Just model it. So I think, and that's partly so they can handle what they are about to get into. Like I tell, on the flip side, I tell my students, my interns would tell you that I come with fire. And usually within 3 weeks of meeting me, I'm like, do you have a therapist? I want you to have an appointment by next week. Because if you think you're going to do this work without it impacting you, you are surely mistaken.
That's it.
So part of the healthy boundaries for discipleship is one, knowing that, so that you can actually handle what you're going to encounter. It's not an if, it is a when, right? So understanding that. The next thing that I would actually say to my leaders is, what is your goal? And when I say that, it's like, okay, do you recognize that everybody's hunger is at different places, and so people are going to move at different quips. And so for you, how do you does your validation come just because you know you did what the Lord told you, or are you looking for outward signs? That is important to know, because the outward sign one, you're probably going to get hurt a little bit more often because you're going to get disappointed. Not everybody's going to move at the same space and pace, hunger and all something. Like it sometimes it gets on my nerves, even as somebody sitting in a class, because I'm just like, but then I have to realize, like, I'm built different. I am a lifelong learner. I love to learn. Let me ask the 16. They have a nickname for me at church. It is Questionista. I ask 6,201 questions.
No, but real talk. We don't ask, and we don't listen enough, and we don't ask enough.
I learned that. I learned that way. Like my mind is processing things, and I'm just like, oh, but when I saw in this scripture, is this connected to this, and such and such and such and such, because it helps me be a better Christian, which then helps me to do my part connected to the Great Commission. Our leaders are not the only ones that were commissioned. It does not say that. We all are to participate in that Great Commission and do the stuff that we need to do. And so I need to get on board. To be equipped and then do my own work and then submit my work back to him to make sure it is to make sure I'm not going off. That's a whole different conversation, right? So we're answering the leaders, all right? And so
I love it.
In the span of the boundaries, when you understand your goal, then it helps you understand, okay, is it that I have a core group that I'm pouring everything into, and then I have the group that I am giving, here are some of the topical things, and this is what you can handle. And so now we're talking about, as I said earlier, with those concentric circles, it's how, when I look at the multitude, they all can't handle everything the same way.
Come on.
And so I begin to instruct based off of what their capacity is.
That's it.
Because I don't want to drown the ones. So I think about the scripture that talks where the Lord asks Ezekiel, do you want to come ankle deep, knee deep, waist deep, shoulder deep, or do you want to be submerged, right? And so what you don't want to do is submerge the people that only have the desire to be ankle deep. You want to challenge them to at least come to their waist, but you don't want to drown them, because then they'll be like, well, such and such and such and such. And so part of that is have the conversations. Like I know you polled the people at the beginning. Poll your people.
Come on.
When you're in discipleship with me, what is your goal and what is your time frame? Like, do you just want to know? I'm going to use something I say in therapy. With my practice, they know that my practice is a God-centered practice, that it's not an if, it's a how much when we talk about faith integration, right? And so I asked them, do you want a sprinkle of Jesus, or do you want me to drop you in the center of the ocean? I can go always. And they're like, what? I'm just like, you want a sprinkle or you want to be dropped in the ocean? And so they're just like, I've never had anybody ask me that. I said, I need to know how much integration you want. I'm going to give you the practical, but I'm going to come for you. What do you want? What can you handle? Because I don't want to drown you. And it's not just throw scriptures at people. I don't do that.
Right. Correct.
And when we talk about discipleship and boundaries, the goal for discipleship is not to just throw scripture at people. When I equipped you so that you can handle it. The word is a sword. If I just throw the sword at you, I'm going to hurt you. So I need to take that sword and I need to train you how to hold it. That's part one. Here is a sword. There's a correct way to hold it and use it. Then I need to begin to sharpen your skill so that you become a wonderful swordsman. That's what the discipleship process is. But not everybody is willing to pick up the weight of that sword and then learn how to properly use it. Some people just want the sword in their space. So you disciple them differently. And so for my leaders, when we talk about boundaries, it's understanding who wants to do what. And it's not that you leave people behind. You still give them that thing. It's happening anyway. Like the formal traditional way is we're going to preach this good here word on Sunday. And we have the expectation that people are going to take this word home and chew on it. And learn for themselves. And they're going to read this again. But the truth of the matter is,
no. What's the percentage? That's really good.
God, I don't even know what the full percentage is.
It's gotta be 0.001.
It's like you look at that and it, I would say I'm not knocking it, but that would be a lie. I am, because you have a weapon at your disposal, and you good with leaving it in the sheath on the ground.
Oh, Jesus, you ain't lying.
And thank you, 2%, love it. Yes. So
she being gracious, 2%.
I'm like, okay, but I can understand why that would be frustrating for a leader. I spend all this time preparing and being on my face for me to give you weaponry. You just leave it on the floor.
My God.
And then understand that I can't come back to the pulpit the next week and be hot to death because y'all the same where y'all were 6 months ago.
Yeah, or have the same word. Don't come back preaching the same sermon.
Oh my gosh. So I can feel their frustration, and then that's what I come back to. Are you doing what the Lord said? And is that where your validation comes? Are you looking for the validation of men? It's not. I'm not going to knock you, because it feels great when you know people are getting it.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you were doing what he told you to do, according to your yes to him,
that's it.
He gonna deal with me.
I always say, I'm gonna say two things. Number one, this is for an audience of one. It's an audience of one. Whatever I do, when people ask, how do you do? I'm remembering that whatever God is calling me to do, I'm doing it for an audience of one. Yes, it is. Number two is for the people. Right. So yes, for sure. Like I believe God is going to give me something for the people, right? But understanding that the audience is truly the audience of one, that he has to be pleased, right? The other thing is that people receive and hear things from what you say. However, the Holy Spirit gives it to them. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of things I know I've said to people, and they had a whole takeaway, and I'm like, okay.
You be like, you can't
praise God.
And sometimes it's not what you say.
For sure.
There are people that observe you.
Yes.
And you're like my apostle always talks about that your walk speaks for you. Mm-hmm. Like people are paying attention to how you are. So we talked about character earlier on.
Yeah.
Right? And so character is also in that boundaries. Like, are you consistent in your presentation?
Uh-oh. Don't. Wait, hold on. Now I got to get a sound effect.
So it's, are you consistent in your presentation? Are you approachable? Like, it is hard to be corrected by people that are not approachable. Like, how you going to correct me and you seem to struggle with the same issue? Like it.
And that's for anybody. This ain't just for a leader. It is
just for leaders. This is
because
all the way around.
We rely, and I believe that the model that we have, particularly in Black church, is way too reliant on leadership in general. Whether you have your one leader, your main pastor, and there's a team of leaders, or I believe we are supposed to equip the body for the body to do. Right? If you are a gift to the body, a leader in the body, you equip the members for the members to be membering. Right?
We equip the members not just to be members, but we equip the members to be able to go out and make more disciples. Like, the point of church is not to just sit in the pew. It's not.
You see it, right? You see it.
Like, we're supposed to go out and go talk to the people that will. This is why your walk is important.
Yeah, That's it.
Because the people that need to be impacted, most likely it's going to take them a minute before they ever come into the church.
Listen.
So even when we talk about habits take 21 days to form.
Come on. Come on.
People have probably observed you 21 times to get a good read on who and how you are.
Yeah.
Your mannerisms, your habit, your character. And so if you are a walking, talking representation of who the word is.
And consistent, that's oh God, like I could
what message have you delivered? Like I ask people, it's just like, okay, so if they hate this question. If I had to look at you and understand the Lord through you, but you could not speak to me about it, what would I learn about him? Ooh. Just watching you and observing you with other people.
So look, watch the sermon. watch the sermon again. Watch the Bible study again.
No, I just gotta look at you. I gotta watch you and watch you interact with other people.
Ooh.
What would I learn? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's from the leadership all the way down. If all I could do is observe you, what would I learn about the Lord? Would I want to be in relationship with him? So when we even talk about discipleship,
that's it.
When I observe you, what would I learn about the Lord, about how he deals with my faults, the times when I have not done everything that went? How does the Lord show me loving correction?
I love that. And when I hear you saying that, I'm thinking of one of the things I love, especially being a leader in church, whether you are a named one or that's just who you are.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love is, hey, you won't be able to tell what kind of season I'm in because of how I conduct myself in church.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm not having a harder time than others, but when you see like me worshiping, you don't know if it's happy worship, crying worship, lamenting. I'm a lament. I'm a jubilee. I'm a eat all of the above every time. You don't know if it's for me. You don't know if it's for somebody else. You'll never know, because the consistency of how I approach coming in is going to be the same whether I'm up, whether I'm down, and that in and of itself speaks to, like you said, what is the character? What is it? You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, she must be up
bigger than that. Because the question is, can the church handle the mental health? And so the truth of the matter is, when I'm in one of those seasons, so I am praying, but I'm using one of the weaponry that he gave me, which is worship. So I am doing something with it to begin to change where my heart posture is so I can get back to where I am. But I should also be able to say, you know what? I will come into church, and so my pastor asks me all the time, and some of my leaders ask me all the time, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm here. It's a rough day. I will say it so they know, but I can say it.
Yes.
And it is, hold on.
I'm gonna say I peeped the wheel too. No, I peeped it. the feeling.
The feeling wheels in the back. Yeah, listen, it's my friend.
That's the pillow.
The feelings wheel, that's my friend. And so if somebody says to me, I don't know how I feel, I just hand them the pillow and say, pick a few. So but I will be honest about the fact that I am going through, and sometimes I'll ask for prayer. Sometimes it's just that space of being acknowledged that, that even seasoned professionals who know the stuff go through it. I am not absolved of going through. Just because your leader has a title does not mean that they are absolved of going through. We all gonna go through. The Lord went through.
It's just how.
He was so upset that he sweat blood. My goodness, going through, right? So with that being said, they're watching how you handle when you having a rough day. What did you show them?
Yes, that's it.
Is there space for me to go through, be supported, and still? Now, we're not co-signing on foolishness.
Right.
That's where the correction comes in.
That's it.
But it is when I go through like that, you
Mhm.
know, it is checking back in with me because you're
Yeah,
concerned about the humanity side of me.
that's good.
And also recognizing that I saw that you were trying to worship your way through it.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's
so it's like, okay, here's your sword, here's all of your weaponry.
Mhm.
You've modeled to me how I'm supposed to use it. So I'm using it that way. And
That's
so
it.
now I can tell other people it's okay to hurt. It's okay to come in with grief. First of all, let's just say because I just said grief. We act like there is a hierarchy of approved emotions in the church, and the devil is a straight up liar. The only two, the only two things that are successfully able to be at church are grief and joy. No,
From what you ain't lying.
find that for me. Find that for me in scripture where these are the only two that are approved. So
I love that. I did want to ask one more question. Did you get your thought out there?
I did.
So, how do you help people tell the difference between healthy spiritual accountability and unhealthy control? This is on the church hurt bandwagon where they were serving, especially again, Black church in the, on the denomination he was in. I served my man and woman of God. I did what I was supposed to do. But we hear about people getting taken advantage of, right? And I certainly disconnected to some of the deficiencies in our soul, how we, want to feel validated. We want that mother, that father figure in our lives and stuff. And so we're like, oh, is this how it's supposed to go? And we find ourselves in some precarious situations. Okay. So how do we help people to discern between the spiritual accountability and unhealthy control?
I'm going to repeat something that has been said to me a lot from my leader and even in just observation.
Mm-hmm.
The ask, who does it point you back to? The person or to the Lord?
So good.
And the reason why it's important to ask that is people say that they do things in the name of the Lord all the time, but some of the ways in which they conduct themselves is counter who he is and how he operates.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very, very hard to believe that some of the directives that are given that are counter to his countenance and counter to his spirit and counter to his attributes came from him. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, I understand that I am placating to your wishes, wants, and desires, not his. And so at that point, I have a right to decline. And then I need to go, first of all, I need to go into prayer and ask the Lord what I'm doing anyway. And what is the purpose behind my serve? How am I supposed to serve this person? My pastor would laugh if with this, but I do a check-in with him every year. Because of how I serve him in particularly. It's just, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the past year. What has helped? What has not been helpful? How can I improve X, Y, and Z? And then the onus is on me to continue to stay before the Lord and ask, am I to continue to occupy this position? How do you want me to help going forward in how I serve, and so on and so forth? And if there are ways in which I am moving that I am not supposed to move, please show me, and then show me how to have that, prepare the opportunity for me to have that conversation so that correction can come on both sides, so that I'm doing everything and I'm serving within the lane that you have given me to operate in.
Absolutely.
I agree. So I think a lot of people have the desire to just give and do. But they ain't ask questions about how I'm supposed to give. What does giving look like from your directive, not from man's directive? So those things are
Yeah.
what's important. And so that would be the shortest answer
Yeah.
that I could give. I think
I'm a add on to what you said earlier, which if you're having physiological responses in your body,
yeah.
to check in, right?
Mhm.
Because to your point, what is your body? What's alarms are firing off? Why is your body responding the way that it is? The questions that come. So we're so quick to dismiss ourselves, right? Especially if we're not familiar with the lane.
Mhm.
And so we'll dismiss what innately is happening, like, oh, this seems weird, but we'll just dismiss it because that leader has explained you out of it, or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you just forget about it. But just doing the check-in of, because there is a space in our lives where we may not know something, and I want to be sensitive to that. New believer, or you had the childhood, the trauma, whatever you had, and you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know the church culture. You don't know, and you get swept up into something that you don't even realize patterns after the trauma that you done escaped out of.
Let's add to this. When we look traditionally, the
Mhm.
sweeping it and ignoring it has been the taught model. And
Ooh.
so we talk about the new believers in the church hurt, but we need to talk about the faithful crew that have served regardless, because
Yes,
those are the ones that have championed. I just have to ignore all of the bells and whistles that are going off,
that's it. That's so good.
because that's what it meant to be a good saint. That's what it meant to be a
Father help.
to be someone being
Oh
serving
yeah.
and serving strongly in
Yeah.
ministry. Was it didn't matter if my family had an issue with this, they're gonna have to work it out. It didn't
Yeah.
matter if it cost me money that I didn't have to give, and we over spiritualize that, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and we've all been there. And
Yeah.
so that's why it's so important that the check-in that you're talking about is so super important, because the Holy Spirit is there to help us, guide us, and lead us. And so he will also help you discern the difference. But
Yeah.
so often we don't ask.
You don't
We
know.
assume just because it came from the leader that it is gold, it is God. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
bro, you have to ask
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then wait for the response.
Yeah, and we have to also remember that as much as we want to be mad at quote unquote our leaders,
Mhm.
no idol made themselves.
If I had my own sound effects, I need something for sound effects myself.
No,
So that's that pedestal thing.
correct.
And way often they didn't ask to be put on pedestals.
The golden calf didn't actually be golden calfed. Okay,
If he had asked, he'd have been like, "Can I be an earring again?" I saw what happened to the other people. I'd rather be an earring or an anklet, and because it is so much easier to serve something tangible. It is so much easier to
it.
trust the thing that I can see, even though that's truly not trust.
That's it.
It's not faith. It's not what Hebrews 11:1 is based off of.
Yeah.
Like it it's supposed to be an honor to be able to continue to have faith in the thing that I have not seen, or the thing that I have not had the opportunity to have a tangible
Yeah.
relationship with. Like that's what the conversation was with Thomas. It was just like, and Jesus just like, just being able to, wow, the people that will be able to believe me who have not seen. That's what so
Yeah.
it's not going to be easy. There is nowhere that says faith is going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not. But is it worth it to you?
Yeah. That's it.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. No, it's so good. All right. I'm gonna try to wrap up. So as we come to a close, okay, I'm gonna try. All right, as we come to a close, I definitely want to talk on um two last questions. So one is, how do you know between, like, when do you, what the question is, when do you know when, hey, whether it's from the position of the leader or the position of, just a believer, whether it's the leader or a believer, how do you know when, this might go beyond the scope? I might need more than church, you know what I mean? Or this pastoral counseling care I'm trying to give somebody, they might, I don't know, like, it might be more than this. How do you, from both kind of vantage points, discern, hey, it might be time for some more than this? This is beyond just discipleship. They might need an actual therapist, need help.
If it's serious mental health, if it's and let me qualify serious mental health.
Qualified, yeah. Come on.
So if we're talking about that, you're most likely going to wind up with a diagnosis, even if it's a mild diagnosis, like something like adjustment disorder, which is situationally based, then that's going to be beyond the scope of most of your non-licensed professionals.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, you read in my bio that I am a certified life coach, mentor, and therapist. My life coaches can work alongside of me. So they can handle a lot of the, like, for instance, let's say we are talking about depression. And so part of one of the things that has happened regarding depression is that your house has become in disarray. Your life coach can begin to work with you to lay out steps so that you can begin to get your house back in order.
That's good.
Working concurrently with me to be able to address the deeper mental health issues so that they can even take the steps to do what you're asking. Where people get into trouble, people meaning non-licensed mental health professionals get into trouble, is that we think that it's all just words. And so I like to tell people this. My favorite crew of interns to work with are the first years. And most mental health therapy type programs are 2 years. Some allow for them to start doing work with clients their first year. Some they don't get to do it to their second year. Whenever they start working with clients, then I get them. It's fun, right? So they have been learning theory for a while.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, it's not until about 6 to 8 months of working with clients. With weekly supervision and still actively learning theory, that it starts to click and they're actually doing clinically sound work. So when you put that into perspective, it starts to make you wonder, is it just words? And I ask people all the time, do you understand what's like, because, people are just like, well, just do this. Do you understand the mechanism behind the intervention that you're even giving to somebody? How do you know that it worked?
Come on.
How do you know what part of it worked? Can you replicate it? Because that person is looking at you as the expert that when I apply this, this is going to work. And this is how people get hurt. And so what I suggest to pastors is, if you don't have the expertise, and even with that, there's a difference between pastoral care, pastoral counseling, and mental health counseling.
That's good.
It is a difference in training, the length of training, and the specialty of training. And depending on the state that you are, there are some states in the US that actually have a license for pastoral counseling. There's not that many, because they have to go through an extra step.
That's good.
Are you licensable? Are you able to be insured for liability? That's the other thing that I ask a lot of people. Like, are you willing to take on the liability for your words, the financial liability for your words?
Man.
So when we talk about when is it a good time to refer out versus I can handle this, know your scope. If I know that I am phenomenal in being able to do spiritual counseling, what is the goal? It normally has a goal. It is normally short term.
Yeah.
You know, what are you trying to get them to? And then when you recognize that there is something else at play that may be adjusting or altering how they are receiving the information, how do you add a concurrent person so that they can still get what they need from you, but you are not handling the part that you don't have the liability insurance to cover?
Yeah. And for me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I often see, and number one, I agree with you. If I take on a mentee, I'm like, you in therapy? What are you talking about? Because I'm not that. Don't get it. You ain't gonna be weighing me down. You're not gonna wear me out. And so what helps me to identify a lot of times with anybody I'm talking to is when the patterns. What's the patterns? What's the cycles? Right? What's going on? Is it teaching? Right? Because some of it is just plainly teaching. Some of it is, and we touched on it, but not fully. Some of it is strongholds.
Yes.
Some of it is strong man. So it's like, what's going on if I can now see you within a season, some seasons? What's the jargon? Okay, when you're stressed, what's going on? Okay, we conquered it before, but we didn't quite like. So I start looking at the patterns, the holes and stuff like that, where it's just like, oh, you keep repeating like your past. You keep referring to this relationship and you keep repeating it like it happened yesterday. When I start seeing those little holes and those things, it's like, yeah, you may need to talk to somebody. You may need to work through that because you're progressing, but then you're reverting because you're tethered to some stuff that you need fully break out of. Right. And so I start noticing those kind of gaps, those kind of patterns. And I'm like, yeah, nah. Because guess what? That's what motivated me to get into therapy. And this is after I did the trauma work, right? This is, years after I did like that trauma, initial kind of childhood, all that stuff. I worked through that. Okay. We out of the daddy issues woods, we're out of the mommy issues, we out of those things. But I wasn't in crisis mode, like you were saying earlier. But I was like, hey, I need progression. I need something that's going to help me be able to do better. Right. And I feel like for what is ahead of me, I need to start working on some things and through some things to tighten up. For me, I need to tighten up on my emotional capacity. I need to tighten up. Okay. It's progress is better. Praise God. And also, and also I need to do better. I need to do better with handling stuff that scares me. I need to do better, like with how I respond and how I work it. Like I need to do better at these things. So no, me personally, when I started again, I wasn't in crisis mode, but I also was like, I don't want the patterns developed from the trauma that's dealt with. But I also have responses, ways, and patterns that I call the tentacles that are the residue that I learned and developed that may not be, or coping mechanisms, that may not, and it's not always it's just not the best way. It's not always the unhealthy way, but it's also not the best way and most conducive way for what I need and for where I'm going, if that makes sense.
Correct. It makes a lot of sense. In truth of the matter is, we need things to support where we are and where we're going, not just things that have just been supportive in the past, because they don't always coincide.
Right.
And it's okay. It's just like, we have a good pair of shoes and we love those shoes. But if you love those shoes, you're going to wear them shoes out. And eventually they're going to show wear and tear. And so either you're going to get another pair of shoes or you're going to start to hurt when you walk.
Yeah. That's good.
So we have to be okay with upgrading the things that we are using to sustain us, because as our capacity grows, the things that support us also needs to equally grow.
That's it.
It doesn't have to, as you've so nicely said, it doesn't have to be crisis mode, which is why I talked about preventative medicine. Go ahead and learn the things that is going to help support you as you are growing, as opposed to waiting until the bottom falls out and you can't even focus on that. You're on the other part of this and you're just like, oh my God. And it's just like, okay, let's breathe. Let's handle this. And then, like, I have clients who are repeat clients, and they come in for one thing, and as we're listening to it, I'm just like, you do know there are other things that have helped support why this is here, and I can address what you came for, or I can address the root of how this became.
Come on, root. I love a root.
And so. And they're like, so even when we talk about church and church culture, we can continue to address the thing that we see, or we can use God and therapy to address the root of what's there. Because if I address the root, then I'm not going to have to deal with the branches later. There will be no branches. And if a branch tries, I can recognize it and I know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I have the safe community to support me.
That's
and
so
the accountability to make sure that I don't let it grow unchecked.
That's so good. All right, last question.
Okay.
We're going in on the youth.
Okay.
The young people.
Okay.
This generation, I was saying to somebody the other day, I'm like, these under 30s, these under 35s are interested. Okay. How do we help them in church spaces? We know that mental health is rampant, is running through our young children. Now, the definitions, well, at the time she was 10, now 11-year-old, she gave verbiage on intrusive thoughts. Like she understood when we were talking about potentially getting her tested for, ADD and stuff like that. And I was having a conversation with her. She's like, hey, she already did the research. Number one, she learned about it in school and she identified with it. And then she saw videos on it. And she was like, yep, I feel that. So the definition, the language is out there for the youth. They're understanding it, right? And my baby is an alpha, whatever they call them, Gen Alpha.
She's alpha, okay.
And so, but with these, the Z's, the Gen Z's and all that stuff, how do we help these kids who are, younger, who are early millennials, who are Gen Z's, who are these babies? How do we, especially in church, relate to them without compromise? These kids, they're not very expressive. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm like, these kids, you don't know where you stand. You be like, what's going on in there?
They're expressive, but I think to your point, the way that we have been trained is not how they have been trained. Yeah. So the way that we recognize expressiveness, they are expressive. It's just that their modes of expressions look destructive.
Yeah.
And they look other.
Yeah.
So silence still speaks.
Right.
But do you recognize what it's saying? It's in that vein, right? So one of the things that I challenge people to understand is you want your level of accountability, recognizing that a whole generation has been dropped in between us.
That's good.
And so they didn't come up with it's Sunday. This is what we do on Sundays.
Right.
They have a generation and a half that said, and it's Sunday. Right? And so
it's Lifetime Day. It's Hallmark Day.
it's I'm going to roll over in my bed and sleep because I've been out all night
Yep.
watching, like partying or watching games or gaming all night,
Yep.
right? And my parent has been on longer than me.
Yeah.
So they don't have the old school church grandma. First of all, there's not a lot of church mothers, old school version, left in the church.
We church mothers.
We
Katrina,
are the church mothers. We are in our 40s and we are the church mothers. Okay.
We're church mothers.
So, and here's the thing. I talk about my Gen because I'm a Gen X, right? So here's the thing with the Gen X. There was a split in the Gen X. Yeah. You had the ones who had more of the traditional values, and you had the ones who said everything that my parents' generation did, I'm not doing none of it.
Not doing it. Yeah, that's so true.
And so all of us have produced children.
Yeah.
Collective all. There's some people that are, mothers to other people's kids. So that is the collective all, right? Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, what have something's been teaching them. So what have they been learning? And what is your answer to it?
Yeah.
Are you, without compromising the word, do you know how to break the word down for that audience?
Yes.
It's not make them get to you. It is, will you meet them where they are? Do you hear what they're like, to the point where we have a Bible that's specifically for them now, where they've changed? It is one of the strangest Bibles I've ever read, but they get it. And then you can mature them into, what is it? Is it the Gen Z Bible? I think that's what it's called.
I think I heard about it. It's got like the little slang.
It looked like trap in the word. Like that's what it looks like. And so, but they're getting exposed to it. So now when they look at you and then they hear you talking about, can you bridge them from the world to the trap Bible to NLT at least?
Yeah.
Or can you use the Passion? Or can you use the Message Bible? Or can you use C? Like something that speaks regular English for them, so that they can get the concepts and then mature them into, this is what it means to walk it out. That generation, it's I've seen you in Sunday during church shouting and dancing, and then I watched you come out of church and cuss somebody out.
You better say it again.
And so it's just like, that's why that whole thing about our walk is important. If our walk is opposite than what our word is coming out of our mouth, they're going to believe what you do. So when we talk about reaching them, they're not less passionate. In fact, they're more, here's the thing, they are more committed to things that make sense. So if the things of the enemy make more sense to them, they will go 10 toes down and then take somebody else's toes so they can get to 15.
Child.
That's what they're going to do. And so they are searching for something. They are searching for belonging. They are searching for identity. And the thing is, if you're coming to them with something that is not authentic, they do not have time for you. Yeah. So when we go back to the beginning of the conversation and we talk about coming to people and recognizing their finiteness and their humanity, if you don't come to those babies with authenticity, you have lost them.
That's so good.
It doesn't mean that you have to compromise, but it does mean that you need to learn how to be a good translator of the word.
That's so good.
You need to be a wonderful swordsman.
That's so good.
With equipping a new group. It kind of reminds me of when David started to get the first 600, like after he defeated Goliath, and then Saul was a little upset with him, and he was trying to kill him and all this other stuff, and he thought that he was just going to make him the commander of the army and be like, all right, go out here, and he was going to die. But that's not what happened, because Saul didn't recognize that that the Lord's hand was on David's life. And so with that, he started to gain notoriety, and then he gave him the rebels, the misfits. His crew was the misfits, and he turned them into killing machines in the name of the Lord. Right. Yeah. And so David was able to speak to that group of folks to train the misfits to be just stealthy
for
the battles of the Lord. So if he could do it, why can't we?
Right.
Do you know how to translate the word so that those babies will be 15 toes down for the Lord, like they have been for the enemy, so that they will actually stand up to their friends and be like, well, no, because that ain't what the word says. And God wouldn't be pleased with me if I did that, because we hear them doing it for other things and other people.
Yeah.
They can do it for Christ. Are you willing to make the adjustment?
That's it.
So that's how I would answer that.
Woo, listen, no, that's so good. I think, trying to help, I think to your point, and even with my kids, 17, 13, 11, just attempting to be the parent that is modeling, because they're seeing, they're observing, trying to be consistent through and through. That's my own conviction, and has been for quite some time, but especially with my kids. And so when people are like, how people do, like, oh, you got teenagers, you have a son, oh, he don't tell you nothing, do you? I'm like, no, we talk about everything, actually. What?
You're a safe space,
right?
You're a safe space. You have standards. You're not judgmental, but you will correct.
Absolutely.
Because judgmentalness and correction don't have to be the same thing.
That's it. That's it. And so people, and you hear it all the time, like, well, you're at that age, they're at that age, and and they do. And I'm like, no, my girls, you know what I mean? Like, my girls got to get older, but I'm like, we have a very good foundation and a good rapport. It gets sticky, tricky. Like, that just is what it is. But we have, like you said, the safe space, the openness, the non-judgmental. I'm not going to overreact. If you tell me something, I might not like it. I might need some time and space to adjust. I need some internal, introspective work for a second. Just give me a minute. Just give me a second.
And I let them see me. I'll be like, "Ooh, wow, that's a lot." And I let them see me go through the phases of the struggle and just getting to this place where it's just like, yo, that was a lot. But let me explain to you why it was a lot. And let me tell you what's going on through my thought process, because what I want to show them is healthy conflict resolution. I want to show them healthy emotional regulation at the same time. Otherwise, something and somebody else out there is going to teach them. And the thing that's teaching them out there is that you need an outside numbing source to handle everything that's going on right there.
That's it.
And I'm just like, so you using something that's mind altering to alter your mind that's already altered? Like,
right.
That makes sense.
You're not lying. Hold on. The ability to see flaws and on the past couple with the willingness to be different and embrace the truth, that's all about it. So yes, a lot of them just desire to be understood. And that's so true. Just listen. I think, we said at the top, in the middle, and in the end. Number one, do what Jesus did. Let's start there.
Yes.
And all the people that say they know what Jesus did, they done studied the Bible, they read it all, listen, we really be saying we know the Bible, but we really do not know the Bible, and nor do we model the Bible like we think we do. It's Jesus's model was always very clear. You know what I mean? And we have to get more detailed and slow down in our reading. Me and just Danielle on here say all the time, slow down. Because Jesus modeled how to interact with people, and including this younger generation, like you said, they're unchurched, whose grandma is our age.
And she might be unchurched too.
That's what I'm saying. She's not the mother of the church. She our age. And so it's like we have to be in a position where we can just be accepted and be loving, correct, as well, but just be open and stuff like that. And like even my son's friends, like even how I interact with them and stuff like that. Even us modeling, like, oh snap, you told your mom that? Your mom not? Like, yeah, I told my mom that. She know about everything. I told her everything. Like even stuff like that speaks volumes, And so it's just about really talking to these kids and getting to, whether it's kids, adults, whatever, just be here, be on the level. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna get you out of here. Because we can be. This is what I was afraid of. I'm like, we'll be on here all night.
I mean, but now people are getting to see what happens when you and I just talk. So
it's ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Any parting words?
I think the parting words are at the end of the day, your humanity. It's about your humanity. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have rough days, but you're also going to have joyful days. And joy and happiness are two different things. Joy is promised, happiness is fleeting. But the question is, are you going to the Lord? Are you checking with him? Do you have an active, ongoing relationship with the Holy Spirit that you continue to cultivate? Because he is there to help you understand and learn and what have you. And then you can actually ask the Holy Spirit to help you have those conversations with your leader. If you see that that your church does not have a conducive mental health space, will you be the one that just complains about it? Or will you be the one that is being commissioned to help change that? And sometimes the change comes in a challenge, and the challenge is a question. And the question is, how do we make our church a safe space for the unchurched that we are actually seeking? And part of that is making sure that we can meet their spiritual needs as well as their mental health, emotional needs, and their financial needs, and everything in between. Like, how do we do that? I am willing to help. And so that would be the thing. And just be honest with yourself. Like, people, it's a relationship. Relationships are reciprocal.
Yeah.
The relationship that you have with the Lord, it is reciprocal. It is not even, but it is reciprocal. Just like the relationship that you have with other congregants and the relationships that you have with your leaders, it is reciprocal. Yeah. Stop pretending like people are going to read your mind. The Lord knows, and he still tells you to talk.
That's it. That's it. He asks us questions he know the answer to.
Right. And be attentively listening to us as we tell him.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Katrina. Oh my God. Wait, where are my clappers? Listen, you are phenomenal. I already knew this would be phenomenal. I did not get to all my notes at all.
This is one of my besties over here.
Thank you, guys. But this was so phenomenal. I'm going to close this out. Don't go anywhere, but I'm gonna close this out. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Oh my God, it was so much to talk about. I don't think we got to all of it, but I'm sure she'll be back. Okay, it's a wrap. She's gonna be back. All right. But tonight was never just about whether the church talks about mental health, but it's about whether the church knows how to carry people well. That's all. How to carry people well. I think the other big thing for me is we don't have to know everything. I don't want any church leader, church member, congregant, whomever, any believer to feel like they have to know it all, have that expertise in all. That's why we are all members of one body. And so where we are deficient, where we are limited, I have my other, I call her every time we're in spaces together. I say, here's my resident therapist. Justina, she's my resident therapist because she is a licensed therapist, praise God, as well. And so I'm like, girl, so if I'm in spaces where, I'm saying things and all that other stuff, I'm like, hey, tag you in, you know what I mean? So it's nothing wrong with being like, how do I do better with this? Holding space for people, making sure I'm caring for them, making sure I'm recognizing them and all that fun stuff. Yes, we definitely need a part 2. How do we get in contact with Dr. K? Hold on. I did forget to ask.
While my all of my things are being worked on, you can either contact me via email at besetfreecounselingministry@gmail.com. Or for now, my Instagram, it's my personal one, but it is Katrina _E like an egg _ creates with a K. That is my IG handle.
All right. I at least got your email up. All right. Thank you again. All right. So thank you guys again so much for joining me. This was so much. We definitely need to do a part 2. I appreciate that. But again, this is about learning how to carry people well. Can we hold prayer and wisdom together? Can we stop reducing every struggle to one category? Can we stop glorifying obligation and start honoring grace? Can we build church relationships that are healthy, honest, and boundaried? Can we tell the truth without harming people in the process? And can we support the youth with compassion and in clarity? All right. Ministry was never meant to cost people their humanity. It was meant to reflect the heart of Christ. Truth, grace, discernment, compassion, healing, and wisdom. All right. Closing declaration. We always do them. I can serve God with grace, wisdom, healthy boundaries, and truth. I can serve God and his people. Okay. We are to serve one another with grace, wisdom, healthy boundaries, and truth. All right. Listen, if this conversation hits you, I need you to comment grace over obligation. All right. And I need you to do 3 things. Save this. All right. Because this conversation is something that the church needs. That's what we need to hear. Whether you're a leader, a patron, whatever you are, wherever your relationship is to church, you need to hear it. Share it with somebody, sharing in leadership and ministry, counseling, care. And also, of course, if you're watching via YouTube, if you ain't subscribed yet, I don't know why you wouldn't have. You need to do so. If you're watching from other platforms, you need to go on and subscribe. Okay. Be sure to comment if you are watching the replay. Thank you guys again so much. I appreciate all the love, all the things. You guys are amazing. It was a great time. Bye.